Hello everyone, it's me, Future Freshman. Real quickly before the video starts, I just want to say, in case you haven't heard, and in case you haven't seen the video, GojiFan1993 has stopped doing YouTube. He's not uploading any more content onto his channel, but knowing the community and the people who watch this, you probably already have heard of it, but just in case you haven't, please, I have a link inside the description to the video, his farewell video. Go watch that first, because this interview, the majority of it kind of bases around that, me asking questions about some of the things he said inside the video, and just of Goji Fan's history. So there's also a link to his channel inside the description, links to everything that I was talking about inside this video, and yeah. Besides that, there are some audio problems during the video. There are parts where Chris's mic kind of glitches and screws up, but it only loses like a second of what he was trying to say, and it only happens a couple times. But besides that, the rest of the footage is completely fine. But yeah, the rest of the audio is completely fine. But yeah, thank you all for watching. Here's the interview. Hope you enjoy. Hello everyone, and welcome back to The Depth. I am your host, Future Freshman, and today I'm not joined by Hedora the Douchebag. Instead, I am joined by the man that everyone knows, the man, the myth, the legend, GojiFan1993. How are you doing?
Hey, what is up, G fans?
Well, I was just talking with you right before we started this. This must be like a relief, like this 5 days after, like, kind of just saying, I'm done with the channel. It's like the day where you're just able kind of to relax the days after it.
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, what's funny is I actually haven't had a lot of time to relax just because of other things that I'm doing right
Yeah,
now. But
everything going on in your life.
yeah, but I guess when it comes to the Godzilla stuff, it's nice just to be able to kind of take a big breath, just and just
Mhm.
kind of say that it's done, and I can just relax on that end. But I don't have any time to relax. Really, I got to hit the ground running with this year. I got so many other things I'm doing,
That's,
so
that's
don't
definitely
don't got
true.
any time to relax actually.
Yeah. Well, after all this happened, it didn't really come out of nowhere, but some people were, pretty surprised by it. And we have a lot of questions. So what I tried to do was I tried to go through the comment sections of mainly your farewell video that you uploaded a couple days ago on your channel. And I was just looking over it, and I guess there's not really a lot of explanation we have to give, considering the majority of the people who watch this are all from the kaiju community.
Yeah.
Actually, I would say almost everyone. And they probably already heard by now, of course, you saying that you're done with the Goji Fan channel. And there were people who were shocked, and they kind of have some questions. So I went through that, and I basically took the ones that I thought were interesting, but also threw some of the ones of mine that were in there. And
Mhm.
just some basic questions that I bet a lot of people in the community were asking. So yeah, I'm just gonna jump into the first question here. So you mentioned in the video, when was the exact moment that you noticed you didn't want to do this anymore? Basically, can you go into any more depth into what it was exactly? Were there any outside forces that persuaded you to do this? You said mainly in March of 2016 was when you were like, I'm done with this.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, March was or it was around March when I started to think about this. And the funny thing is I've always really had it in the back of my mind of like, when would the day come and when uh I always knew that it would happen
Hmm.
someday. I knew I couldn't from day one. I've always said this. From day one I knew that there would be a time where I would, just not really want to do this anymore because I really didn't see myself doing this kind of thing till I was like 30 or 40 years old. I just
Hmm.
can't, I just wouldn't be able to see myself doing that. And uh, yeah, so around March is when I really started to think about it. And it's just because so many things were changing in my life even last year. And it just kind of was one of those things that I thought, maybe this channel needs to kind of have a break or a retirement because that will also help other things. And I was also kind of working with Atri Studios and getting that all worked together. And the thing that I realized is like, well, when I go back to even 2012, when I was with my friends in our group Exosphere Studios, that was like the very first thing that I ever did on the internet. Like a lot of people think that the Godzilla stuff was my first entry to the internet. It wasn't. It was like my second endeavor, I guess. But Exosphere was like the first thing. And when GojiFan kind of came up and I started to really roll with that, it kind of killed Exosphere. So I had to kind of do the same thing with this. I had now Atri Studios needs to have all the attention that it needs, so I kind of had to kill this channel in order to do that. And there were also some other things which I'm comfortable, going into, but to
Yeah.
probably maybe go around to some of the other questions. But yeah, really around March is when I really thought to myself, okay, maybe it's time to really do this. And I talked to a couple friends beforehand and got their opinions on it. And so a handful of people knew that this was coming,
Yeah.
but not everybody did. But I asked like a few of my really good, close personal friends about that stuff. And they gave me their opinions and it kind of helped me make my decision. And then I think it was about 2 months of just thinking, just nonstop thinking about whether it would be a good idea or not. And then after those 2 months, it was a little, and obviously before G-Fest is when I made the decision that, okay, on my 4-year anniversary, this is when the channel will be shut down.
Yeah. And one of the other things, I was just thinking of was that I kind of relate to what you're saying, like as in, well, first you were saying like you knew that you weren't able to, you weren't going to be able to do this forever. You said that to yourself. And I don't think a lot of people who are in the kaiju community really tell themselves that. They think that they can do this forever. I mean, and I was, ignorant enough as a kid to just think that. I was like, remember I told you myself, I was like, I'm going to do a, well, whatever I called it. It was basically where I would review like a Godzilla marathon every year. And that's nuts. I look back on that now and I'm like, what a stupid kid. But we all think that we can do that, and then eventually you just kind of get to a point where you drive yourself into a corner and you just kind of go, wait, there's not really much I can do here anymore. And
actually, before you continue, it's kind of, the other thing that's interesting with that is because I think when I started my channel at the right time. It was the right place, right time, because it was right before 2014 came out, and it was that hype train, and Godzilla was, the franchise was coming back, just had full force fire put into it. And so I rode that train. And then, obviously after 2014, there was a lot more things that were coming out. And now that Shin Godzilla's done, now we're kind of in another waiting period, I think. I mean, yeah, we're going to get that animated movie this year from Japan. It's not an anime, people. I swear to God, it's not an anime. It's an animated movie from Japan. Doesn't make it an anime. It's not a show. But we're going to get that. But I don't think that's going to have that big of an impact, honestly, like what a movie will have, even though it is a movie. But I don't feel like it's going to me, it's like a spin-off kind of deal. It's not like necessarily a next big, like, here's the next Godzilla movie, but we can delve into that. I don't know, but
definitely.
So we're still kind of in that waiting period till Legendary comes back in 2019. So it's like, we got now about 2.5 years of just waiting and time. It's like, yes, we're getting King Kong, we're getting Pacific Rim 2 or whatever, but it's just not enough to supply content regularly. And that's kind of the problem. So, I think that once Legendary is done and once this kaiju verse, I guess is now it's been dubbed, once that's over, because it's not going to last forever. Like the Marvel Cinematic Universe will end. DC, they're just started, but they're already kind of crumbling down anyways.
Oh, yeah.
All of these universes are going to end. And when Godzilla and King Kong and Pacific Rim and when Legendary is done with this, I guarantee you Godzilla's going to go back into a slumber, and he's going to go back into this period of 10 years where nothing's going to be coming out of the franchise once Toho realizes that they're not making any more money from this. That's what they always do. They've done this 2 times, well, maybe like 3, but every time Godzilla has a series, it always ends because Toho's not making enough money, and they quit it for like 10 years, and then they come back to it later. So we're living in a time where Godzilla is super popular, and they're making money, and it's in that high time. But once Legendary and Toho are done, or if Legendary screws up, then it's probably going to go back into a slumber. And then what are the Godzilla YouTubers going to do? Like just do unboxings for the rest of the time for 10 years? I highly doubt that that's going to work. So because also when the movies go down, merchandise goes down. X Plus won't be doing enough. SH Monstars won't be doing enough. So those unboxing videos and those reviews won't be happening as often. So the time will come where it won't last.
Yeah,
so.
and I kind of find that interesting because it feels like the kaiju community basically needs to add fuel to its fire, and it doesn't really get that a lot, you know? There's
Yeah,
basically, as you could kind of look at it, like droughts from time to time where there's just like no content coming out from Toho
exactly.
or anything else. And I
It's
think that,
always an average of like 10 years.
yeah,
10 years of stuff coming out and then 10 years of a drought. That's
exactly.
usually how it works.
And basically, I think this has made people resort to doing other things that really aren't kaiju related, or like that can be considered kaiju related, but basically have nothing to do with the franchise itself. If that makes any sense, like people
Right,
resorting to making unboxings or rants and all this stuff, and then
right.
that almost kind of just takes away from the kaiju community because then people just start leaving it because they don't like it anymore, and then
Yeah,
people come back when the next movie's out. And like for me, I mean, when 2014 came out, I jumped on that train and I exploded. You know,
a lot of
I
people
mean,
did, yeah.
thanks to you especially, because then I was able to get in your live streams because somebody introduced me to you, or introduced me to you without me knowing. And
Right.
then I basically got huge off of that. Um, but then once that all kind of dissolves, and then there's no other content. Like for me, it was the beginning of 2016. There hadn't been really any big things coming out since the 2014 movie, and I just was basically out of ideas because I had covered everything.
Yeah.
So I burst through that quick. But yeah, I think that definitely kind of attributes to or attributes, if you want to say it that way, to the downfall of the community in a sense at certain points in time. But
And I
yeah.
think that the other big thing before we move on to the next
Mhm.
question is you got to know when to quit when you're ahead, because the last thing I want to do is the problem with Exosphere, my old group, is that we never even got to get to that point. Like it was a year of working really hard, and we were trying so hard, but we just never got off the ground. So in a way, when I look back, yeah, it was kind of a failed project, but I still look fondly on it. But the thing is that we never even got to a point where we were successful.
Yeah.
And so that's why this channel, it was such a crazy thing because it is successful. And when it came to the point is like, I'll have to learn to, all good things must come to an end. And you have to know when to cut it off. You have to know when to stop, or else
Yeah.
you're just kind of going to continue to do things just for the sake of doing it. And that's not really going to necessarily make your content better. And the fact that I quit when I did was a good thing because I ended on a high note. I
Yeah.
feel. I mean, some people might think I didn't. Maybe some people might think this was my weaker year, which is fine. I can
Mhm.
understand that because that's when I started to feel a little bit unmotivated to do it. But it's kind of like you hit that peak. Nothing really else you can do to level up yourself. And the only way I can see in my personal life and in my creative career, quote
Yeah.
unquote, that you could call it, is Atri Studios. This is my next level up. This is my next
Yeah.
evolution of providing content and creativity and being able to create worlds and things for people to experience. So
Mhm.
that's, I think, the biggest thing for a lot of YouTubers who are out there. You have to learn when to call it quits, and or
Exactly. Yeah.
else you're just going to live in this just vicious cycle of just
Wasteland.
constantly making things, even if you're not going to be enjoying it. But it's like, I mean, and sure, if you're making like thousands and thousands of dollars, like PewDiePie or Markiplier or whatever, like,
Mhm.
just playing video games, then sure, I can understand why you would continue it. But honestly, those guys could retire right now and they'd
Oh,
be fine.
absolutely. But the thing about those
So,
people, which I think I actually would highly consider people within this community should try out, is that those people adapt. When something isn't working for them and they've
right,
basically, they've gotten every single penny out of the barrel, they go, all right, what can I do and try next? Like, what can
right.
I do to try to get other people into this?
And
Um,
there's a thing of artist integrity,
mhm.
and you want to look at yourself and be like, well, yes, making money is great, but when I with the content that I'm providing, and when I'm feel like I need to like I always say, level up or do
Yeah.
something else that or evolve, it's like, well, that's fine. I'm willing to take the risk to evolve and do something different and maybe not make as much money from it, but at least deep down inside, I will have my integrity with me, and all that, rather than
Yeah.
just continuing doing what people want me to do for the rest of my life.
Exactly. And
So,
just one last comment from me on this. I also think like a lot of people, like you were kind of just mentioning, who do this for all this, like do the same thing for a period of years, when they have to adapt and have to change because the thing they're doing isn't working for them anymore, they go like, oh shit, because they've never tried anything else out before. You know, it's
right.
like, well, what can I do? You know? But yeah, just moving into the next question, it kind of ties into what you were speaking about. The next two questions actually. How did you plan out your retirement? As in, like, because we basically saw like the DeviantArt page went out, right? That was completely gone, and people were like, you know, what happened to that? And then you said, I'll explain it on January 18th. What really were like the steps in the process? Were you also trying to keep it kind of like undercover so that nobody really noticed, or were you trying to like hint at it, if that makes any sense?
I did it kind of in a hinting way. I didn't want to blatantly just say it, and I didn't want to not say it at all. So it was really the only way that I could hint at things, you know. And if someone was really smart enough or really clever enough to realize, like, oh wow, okay, you know, he's not really doing top tens anymore. He's not really doing kaiju discussions anymore. A lot of his series aren't really happen anymore. His DeviantArt account just got. Oh, he just removed that. Oh, his Twitch account just got removed. Huh? What's going on here? Oh, those little quotes, little teaser things at the end of his videos now. What are those about? Like those have like meanings of quitting and starting anew. What does that have to mean? Oh, he might be quitting. You know, and what is the date? January 18th. What does that have to do? Then you would look on my about page, be like, oh, that's when he started. You'd put all these puzzle pieces together, and I kind of wanted to make it like that because once I know it's in some ways it's kind of cheesy the way that I did it, but you know, I have this kind of what? Well, yeah, but once again, I can see how people think it was like kind of cheesy, like with the music and all that stuff. But to me, since I'm this creative, I would say artist kind of guy, I always like to make it because it's my life and I want to do it the way I want to, and I want to make it as impactful or emotional as I want to. So that's why I like the cheesy music or whatever, the quotes and all that stuff, because that stuff actually really means a lot to me. And um, the quotes basically are speaking what I'm trying to say to people before I make the announcement. And so yeah, I basically, like, going back to the question, planning out the whole retirement thing was kind of fun in its own right, because I had to think about, okay, I need to finish a lot of these projects that I had for 2016, and I did. I finished everything. I had a hit list of all the things that I need to get done this year, and I did everything that I wanted to do. It's super gratifying to do that. And so in March, when I was thinking about it, and then, you know, a couple months later, when all of a sudden I made the decision, I was like, okay, well, here we go. I got to start planning all this stuff out. You know, I was like, okay, Super Godzilla Breakout, that needs to get done. Godzilla Retrospective Series, I wanted to start that and finish it in the same year. Then I did a bunch of, you know, interviews with a bunch of Godzilla YouTubers. Then the Attack on Titan video game was coming out, so I needed to, because I promised people that I would do that, so I played that. And I, you know, recorded a bunch of videos in bulk, just kind of uploaded them in a timely manner. Which some people liked, some people didn't like, but, you know, whatever. That's you know, I said I was going to be playing that game prior, like a year prior before, because I knew the Attack on Titan video game was coming out, and I made that announcement a long time ago, so people knew it was coming. So for the people who didn't like this series, well, you should have known it was coming anyway. So I gave plenty warning that was going to happen, but yeah, everything I planned accordingly, and I, you know, at the end of some of the videos, I put the little teaser quote things, and did that just to get people's, you know, eyebrows going like, whoa, wait, what's going on here? And then the Daily Motion account was being taken down, and then Twitch was being taken down, so it's just kind of one by one little things to
almost like a domino effect.
What?
Almost like a domino effect.
A domino effect, yeah. So, and then it just all kind of, you know, accumulated to the 18th, and it was, I mean, I think it was a nice little wrapped up in a bow, kind of nice,
exactly,
you know, rounded out and all kind of thing. So, but that's pretty much how I planned it out. It was definitely planned. It wasn't just kind of like this haphazard, oh God, I don't know what I'm doing, but I pretty much knew months in advance how I was going to do this.
Yeah,
So
and I actually, now that you mention it, I really didn't notice it as like a piece of, if you could say, like an art to it. There was like, kind of a method to the madness, if that makes
right.
sense. And now that you mention it, now I definitely do see it. And it's funny to me because now that I think of it, you did it in like such a nice way, in the sense that I wonder if it made the community reaction to it go like, oh yeah, he has been trying to tell us about this, so let's not
Right.
be pissed,
Because
like.
I didn't want to drop it out of nowhere,
Mhm.
but then at the same time, I didn't want to blatantly say it and
And
then
the,
have people just being sad for the whole year, So it was kind
and
of
that's what
this.
I did poorly. When I shut
Well,
it down, I
yeah,
was like, "Hey guys, I don't like doing this anymore. Screw you all. I'm getting out of here." That's basically what I did. But,
and
yeah.
I kind of had, that responsibility, I think, as the person who I am and how, and the thing that's crazy is, I mean, this might be in a future question as well, but
Mhm.
it just came to my mind that, seeing all these people making these video responses about the announcement and D-Man 1954's tribute video was just so beautiful that it put everything in perspective. And I
Mhm.
really didn't know how many people uh, I've connected with, I
Yeah.
guess, even though I don't know them, but like how many people I've really inspired and all that stuff. It really put it in perspective for me. So I had a responsibility to kind of do this in the nicest artsy kind of way. That way it didn't really hurt anybody super bad,
And that
you
actually
know?
kind of leads into one of my future questions I have for you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And that's the thing is, and we'll go into the question right after this. And
Mhm.
the thing I do is because this guy who just thinks about so many things that um, I always everything I do has a purpose and meaning to it. I don't just do things randomly, really. Like
Yeah.
especially when it came to this whole retirement process, everything was laid out on purpose. Everything had a purpose. The music had a purpose. The quotes had a purpose. Everything was laid out because of my just artsy way of doing things. So it wasn't just, oh, make the video, put a random sad music track down. Like, no, the music track that I used on the final video, the farewell video, that was a video. It was called Anna and something, and the song was called Farewell Life. And I was
Mhm.
like, perfect. It just makes sense.
Yeah.
I'm saying bye to this life, and I'm moving on to something different. So everything I do had a purpose, and so that's just kind of that thing. So
Yeah. Well, it was very well executed. Now that I look at
thank
it,
you.
it was, yeah, definitely. Um, do you mind if I move into the next question, or do you have
Yeah.
any?
Oh yeah.
All right. This also kind of ties into one of the things that you were talking about. People started to talk about a drop in quality and just random videos and gameplay coming out to just, or as they said, just as filler. Are
Right.
those criticisms and comments valid? And how have you been able to stand strong, as I have said that you have been able to, in the face of all this criticism?
Um. Yeah. So people saying that the drop in quality and all that. I would agree to a certain extent.
Hmm.
I think. Uh.
Well, I
With the Godzilla.
actually, I'm sorry to cut you off, but like I almost think like because you were talking about, you were hinting at taking down the channel since March of 2016, or at least been thinking about it.
Around that time.
Sometimes you kind of just lose inspiration to do it. Would you say that's kind of what made like the quote unquote drop in quality,
Yeah,
the lack of inspiration
I would say that some of the videos were a drop in quality because of the lack of motivation. For instance, the unboxing videos this year, I think it's just because Diamond just came out with so many freaking X Plus figures that it just kind of doing an unboxing video just felt so redundant to me now.
Yeah.
I notice it. Like I say the same damn thing every time I start the video. Oh, I'm so excited, guys! We have another box stage, Pink Razor Man, and it's like here we go. Like I know they're kind of games at this point, I guess, but it's just opening the box, looking surprised, and it's like, this is why. On a little side note, I'm very excited that I don't have to make videos now. When I get a figure, I can just open it on my own
Yep.
and just look at it and be like, yeah, that I'm excited for the next figure because I can just be myself and not have to kind of act for the camera. But
You don't have to
the
play off this character almost.
yeah, exactly. And the other thing is, I would say that from 2015 to now, I did try to at least put some effort into some videos. Like the Godzilla retrospective series was probably the most work I've put into a series. I mean, that series took a bit to finish with all these scriptings and voiceovers and getting people to getting Super Godzilla to help me, or Super Godzilla Gaming to help me. So that series actually took a lot of work, but
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I can the criticism of drop in quality, I would say is valid because of the fact that I was unmotivated this year and because I knew in the back of my mind that this would happen. So it was just kind of those, checking off the list of stuff I needed to do before I quit it, and that was kind of it. So I mean, I would say it is valid to a certain extent, but I think they were criticizing it because they didn't know what was happening behind the scenes,
Yeah,
kind of
that's
thing.
that's definitely true, and I guess also there was a lot of motivation or a lot of criticism, mainly because people just started noticing he's only doing Attack on Titan gameplay. What the hell? This isn't what I was here for. And
Right.
I mean, I don't know if I necessarily agree with that that criticism, but like I almost wonder if it was also like people just kind of going, this isn't what I subscribed for, if that makes sense.
Right. Yeah. The Attack on Titan Let's Play, I think, a lot of people. It's funny to me though because I told that I would be doing this Let's Play a year in advance, and like I people should have known it was coming whether or not you liked Attack on Titan. But I've done sort of non-kaiju games before. I did Shadow of the Colossus, which was a pretty good series. A lot of people enjoyed that one, but it seems something didn't really gravitate towards it, which is fine.
Yeah.
I mean, I still enjoyed the game and I still enjoyed recording it, but definitely towards the end when I uploaded part to it, the finale, I was like, thank God this is over. Jeez.
Exactly. Yeah.
So
yeah. Absolutely. And
it was a big relief, but
yeah, there was a lot of people, especially that's actually very true with the Kaiju Fantasy Battle, saying like they're nowhere near as good as they used to be.
Right.
And was that like one in particular, which I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I was like that was kind of cheesy. Was the and you actually gave a pretty good explanation for this one, but it was Kaiju Fantasy Battles Reignited Season 1, Episode 10. I'm gonna it was like with Titanosaurus and like some other weird.
Oh.
Yeah.
Titanosaurus and Biollante.
Yeah, that one. And the explanation mainly was like we couldn't really do much with it because Biollante is like stationary
and that's the thing is Asusa really had the brunt of it because the way we did the series, if I could go back I would do it differently, but the problem is once again it might be a future question, but the process of that series alone this year was just a complete mess of not planning, not scripting anything. I mean, really all it was we had the battles and I was like, hey, Susa, these are the monsters and have fun. And, but he got compensated for it. I mean, honestly, like, I might have, I dropped it on him, but for sure he got compensated very well for the series. And if anyone benefited from that series, it was him. He got definitely the most benefit from it. No, I don't feel too bad, of all the things he had to do. But the reason why that episode was so, I would say, not really that good was because he already had to deal with Biollante many times in the series, and that was one of the problems as well. Is that many monsters made a lot of returns, and it just kind of made it difficult to make anything new in that series. So if I could go back, I would definitely be a lot more. I would plan it out a lot more. Script it out a lot more, really like try to figure out cool choreographed battles. But the way that this was done, it was just so haphazard and kind of that stuff. So yeah, I can understand why some people didn't really like it, and that's fine. So because I myself technically didn't fully like it. So
yeah, and this kind of my statement here, but this kind of like goes back into what you were talking about in the unboxings. Is like how you were kind of putting on this character. In your last video in the farewell, what I saw was like someone who, this is like the actual Chris, this is the actual Christopher Cyphers, that was when you were your most genuine. Would you say that's true? Like that's when you were like,
oh yes,
yeah, I'm just gonna speak with the camera.
It was hard. I mean, I had to that first bit that you see in the video before even the intro title card or whatever. That first bit where I'm just kind of looking at the wall. I'm just kind of going like shit. Today's the day. Here, like I've been thinking about this for a year, and yet it's here. Like, what am I gonna say?
Was that your first try, or had you tried to shoot that before? Was that like your first try? Because sometimes when I make like a video where I'm trying to choose my words carefully, particularly when I'm trying to talk about politics or something, as important as that, I try to go like, all right, I'm gonna try. I'll take like a couple takes, and I'm like, I'm gonna try to word this in the perfect way possible. if that makes any
Yeah.
sense.
No, the majority of the whole video I did in one take and with very little edits.
Hmm.
The intro I messed up a bit. I had to like, hey G fans, good, but then because I was like,
Yeah.
oh fuck, I messed up, so I had to reshoot that a little bit. But no, thankfully it was in one shot because for a video like that, you just can't edit. You can't have any
Absolutely.
artificial elements to it
Hmm.
because it has to be genuine. And even
Exactly.
if I said or a lot, it was genuine, and
Exactly.
that's what I wanted to make that video be. I didn't want it to be this jump cut mess of like what you see a lot of YouTubers do nowadays. It's like, no, I want shot me talking. This is what I need to say, and that's it. But yeah,
Exactly.
that first part before the intro, where I'm just kind of like my hand over my mouth going, oh geez. I mean,
Yeah.
that was genuine because I turned the camera on and I'm like,
This is
I
it.
just kind of was like stuck, and I'm like, shit, like this is really happening. And then I
Hmm.
just realized, okay, I got to do this. I'm like, all right, here we go. So it just kind of, and I decided to keep that in because I thought it was just impactful to the video. So
Precisely, yeah. Well, I would also say, like, yeah, especially with a video is so important. Like you were saying, you couldn't really edit anything out. You just had to say it as it came to you, almost.
right.
You know?
I mean, unless I messed up big time, but I didn't thankfully. So
Yeah, exactly.
because it
Um,
was genuine. I think that's
mhm.
why as well that it was in one shot because it was genuine. So I didn't feel like do anything because it was all true and true straight from the heart kind of deal. So
Yeah. Well,
yeah, and
actually,
also if I oh what
no, no, keep on going.
oh if I had to re-record it, that would have sucked. I probably would have
Mhm.
like done it in another day or something because
Absolutely.
for a video like that you can't just re-say what you just
Hmm.
did
Exactly.
because then that's when you're sounding a bit scripted, because you're
Exactly.
trying to say what you
What
think you
you
got to say,
thought.
so it's
Yeah.
just not good. So
Yeah, and that's actually that's so true. When you have to like reshoot, so like I noticed with the response I kind of made to the response I made to your farewell video, I shot that. There was two shots to that. The first one I did, and I was like, I didn't word all that very well, and I should have touched on this and not that.
right.
And it's one of my flaws. I think everyone has this flaw, but it's like I've had to stop some videos and just not make them because I'm like, I didn't word that correctly. And then I go to try it again and I'm like, I'm never going to have this perfect again. You know, I
Yeah,
screwed up
because
big
it's
time.
not a genuine take.
Exactly, yeah. And I think that's like one of my biggest flaws. But like with that, I tried to like, instead of rewording everything or instead of like just re-saying everything I thought, I was like, all right, I'm just going to try again and I'm just going to say like just what comes from the heart and what I just think off the top of my head, you know?
Right, right.
Yeah, but ready to move on to the next. Or actually, that's true. How did you? This kind of got skipped over. It was a multiple part question though. But
Okay.
how have you been able to stand strong in the face of all that criticism? Because this is one of
Oh
the
yeah,
things
that's
I
right.
mainly complimented you on the video. Is like through all this, through all the rants, all the people talking about you, the Patreon, whatever it might be. You've been able to just be like, nope, I'm standing strong. I'm not even going to talk about it.
Yeah, the biggest thing is when you enter this kind of field of work of being an entertainer kind
Hmm.
of thing, and I'm gonna have to continue to learn it even when I do Atsu Studios,
Yeah.
because that's gonna be on a bigger scale, I hope. You gotta learn to it's your art, and if you like it, if you at least like what you've done, and you at least can, like, yeah, we might have some regrets. We might look at some of our art and be like, oh, that's not really that good, but you have to take some pride in what you make, and if some people don't like it, then that's whatever, that's their
Yeah.
opinion, and I just don't care what people say about me anymore,
Hmm.
and it's just one of those things that I don't live by what people tell me to do. I feel and what it's going to sound cheesy, but what my heart says.
Yeah.
And that's, I think, how I've also been successful with this channel is, yes, I've done a lot of requests. Like back in the day, most of my videos were requested by fans. That's because it was easier to take requests back then.
Yeah.
But I mostly just did what I wanted to do, and here I am. And I think I'm gonna obviously it worked, so I'm gonna continue doing that kind of way. And if someone doesn't like my stuff, that's fine. That's not, it's not like you. It, it's perfectly fine. There's a
Yeah.
lot of people I don't necessarily like to watch, a lot of big YouTubers or whatever, but they still do what they do. And even if there's a YouTuber that I don't necessarily like watching, if they're able to do what they want to do and able to live off it and able to be happy with it, then you know what?
Mhm.
then kudos to them. You know,
Yeah,
they're
more
able
power
to
to them.
do what they want, and that's good. Even if I don't necessarily like it, but I don't care that they're doing what they want to do. I'll do it. But that's basically the thing. I just kind of ignore it. I just say, you know, I know what I'm doing. I know myself, and that's kind of it. That's how I've been able to, I guess, above all the crap.
Yeah.
So.
And would you say, like, at a different point in time, per se, when you were like, I mean, I know I can say this for myself, but like at a different point of time, like definitely earlier in your YouTube career, would you say like you would have, if you had that criticism, would you have like fought back at it because you've probably?
Oh yes. Oh, I was even when I started the channel, I was a little immature little bitch sometimes.
Yeah, we all
Sorry
were,
about
no
that,
matter
but,
who. Yeah.
But it's true. Like back then, any arguments with people and commenters and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
I've learned to just not do that because it makes you look bad, I think.
Oh,
when
absolutely.
you look back.
It's just immature. Yeah.
So that's why I just kind of stopped doing it, and I just kind of stopped. Like, you know, I mean, I'll defend myself when I have to, but if it's for little comments of someone not liking my style, like I say, "Oh, this video sucks," but like, all right, whatever.
Yeah, it's also like certain comments. They never get to me. I'll just like I cannot tell you the amount of comments I get saying you're gay because of, because it's
that's the most original.
Oh, absolutely.
Comment,
yeah, but I'm like the one, I feel like I get it a hell of a lot more because I have a squeaky voice and I'm a tall white guy. It's like,
right.
Yeah, but it's, you know, I never really popped off at anyone for saying that. I just kind of deleted the comment and moved on with my life, you know?
Right. And the thing too is there's a lot of criticism towards me that I ban a lot of people that say shit on my channel, but the reason I do that is because I want to keep my comments clean, and I want to keep it I want to keep the people that actually are like intelligent. I want to keep in the comments. You know?
Absolutely.
So I want to keep my channel a place where people can still have these conversations without having some idiot, you know, comment and some really dumb thing. So that's my, you know, defense in that. I can understand why some people look at that as, wow, like you just ban anybody who says anything negative.
Exactly.
It's like, not necessarily. There are still people that if you post a comment, you just say, oh, you suck, or your videos suck, I'll be like, all right, whatever. But the comments that I ban or delete are like very foul, like very
absolutely
kind of comments. So,
yeah, and there's some,
that's
and
really that.
Yeah, and this kind of comes up for any content creator. There's like sometimes where you have a comment that is just sharing an opinion, but they say something that's like so vulgar or something that's like really not good that you don't want it in the comment section because it's just that bad. And then when you delete it, you also kind of just go, well, now that person just feels like I'm silencing them. And I hate when I have to do that, but like, you know, it happens from time to time.
You know, and you know, one last statement on this, like if you want to, you know, bring up the whole argument of, well, it's freedom of speech and I have a right to say this, and like, you do, but guess what? It's my channel, and I have a right to ban your channel if I want, or your comment if I want to. So there you go.
Yeah, you do technically have the right to ban their channel too. You can send in a report.
Yeah, I don't.
It's true.
Oh yeah, well, I do have that power too. I can ban their comments, like all their future comments.
Exactly.
So.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, well, moving into the next question. This is actually one of the really main points that you made in the video, but I wanted to hear more about it. How do you feel about being considered the leader of the kaiju community, or as you said, being the cheerleader of it all? And do you like that title?
I don't.
You don't?
I hate it. I to be honest, I don't like being considered a king of anything because that's impossible. I think in a fan base, any fan base necessarily. Yeah. I mean, you can be someone who, you know, is a leader in something, which I guess I could say. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, my channel did nothing for for at least the YouTuber community.
Well, I mean, I wouldn't be here, and plenty of other channels wouldn't if it
right.
weren't for
so
your
I'm
success.
not going to be that ignorant to where I'm, you know, I'll just say, no, I was just, you know, whatever. But but at the same time, I was and still am just a guy who wanted to express his opinions on a certain franchise, and it just so happened that I was lucky enough to have my channel get above the ranks of a lot of people, and it just kind of skyrocketed into something that I never even imagined it to be. And you know, people can take it how they want to. Like, if they want to call me the #1 Godzilla fan, or if they want to call me the king of the fan base, they can. But I don't. I don't. Yeah, I can't stop them, but I don't endorse that.
Exactly.
So
Yeah.
it's not me telling them to say that. I've never. Yeah, it's to me, it's kind of just awkward.
Hmm.
It's an awkward kind of thing, like because I'm just some guy, and there are so many people in the fan base right now that are so much. They are more talented than I am.
Hmm.
There are so many people right now that just have they have their different ways. I mean, to me, I look up to Rich Issa. Like he's one of my when it comes to like figure collecting, he's
Extremely
like the king,
entertaining.
you know.
Yeah.
Exactly. So it's one of those things. I think it's just because my channel, I did so many topics, like I did so many different things. I didn't stick to one certain like genre. I didn't stick to just reviews. I didn't stick to just unboxings. Like I did everything I could, that revolved around the Godzilla franchise,
Hmm.
and I think that's what got so many people to look at my channel. But look, if someone, yeah, like I said, if someone wants to call me that stuff, that's fine. But
Exactly.
I,
Yeah.
I don't really endorse it, and I don't necessarily agree with it. But, that hey, I guess it boosts my ego.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think you definitely got that title because you were basically the first of your kind. I don't know if it. Well, as you said, or I guess you are your own biggest critic. I should say that first. Like any content creator, whoever you are, you yourself, you are your own worst critic. And I think certain people
Right.
looked at your content and actually like looked at it saying it was good. I enjoyed it. You know,
Hmm.
and then I think that did attribute to your success. And of course, you were also the first of your kind in that aspect. Because really,
Yeah.
was there any other YouTuber before you that came on the site and was talking about kaiju's and all that stuff?
I mean, once again, it's kind of one of those things that once the channel ended, it put it in perspective of all the things I've done, and
Yeah.
there were a lot of YouTubers before me, a lot of Godzilla YouTubers before me, but I guess when I really look at it, they didn't do what I did,
Yeah.
and I that what I did, yeah, I guess in a way, necessarily, I kind of paved the way for this way of being a Godzilla YouTuber where you can talk about just about anything in the franchise. You don't have to stick to just one type of video, which I guess, once again, I can't deny that's probably what got my channel to get skyrocketed with subs and all that stuff. So, but the thing is, the biggest thing is that I'll always say is I just did what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
Really, I just was like, hey, this would be a fun idea. Let's do that, and that's just kind of what happened. So,
Definitely.
yeah, first of my kind is it's a big, but like I said, if some people think that that's what it is, then they can think that way.
Yeah.
Um, you know, uh, yeah. So,
All right. Well, another question for you. This one, I know. I think I already know some of, or like at least one of the answers that you have to this. Is there anything that you think now you could have done differently in the past? Are there like any regrets that you have?
is this in life or in the
I'm
channel?
talking just about the channel. I probably should have
Oh.
specified that.
All right, because oh boy, I have a lot of regrets in life,
Yeah,
which I
well, we all
know.
do. It's
I know
part of being
people.
human.
I know the saying is don't live with regrets, but that's impossible. I
Yeah.
don't think anyone can
I
say
don't
that
like
on their
that saying.
dying bed.
I hate that. You
Yeah, I don't
should
think
live with
anyone.
regrets. Like that's how
Right.
you adapt and become a different person. You know?
That's how you change into a better person is
Exactly.
because of those mistakes you made. But yeah,
Exactly.
I
Yeah.
don't believe anyone in their deathbed says, "Oh yeah, I don't regret bullshit."
Yeah.
But
Exactly.
once again, sorry about the language. I don't know if your audience.
Oh, honestly, we could care less here.
Okay. Um, okay, but on the channel, regrets for the channel. Whew, um, let's see. I mean, does it depend on like the content I made, or
Well,
does
I
it
mean,
kind
it
of go
really
in?
can be anything. I was thinking like more. I was thinking more about like character or like something that you said in the past that you regret on this channel, or yeah, you could just be content wise.
I mean, if it's something that I said, I'd probably regret that trailer rant video I
That's
did. That
exactly what I
that
was thinking of.
that ironically was the main video that's, I guess, snowballed my channel. But
Hmm.
yeah, that I look back at that one and I just go, that was a my God, like that was the epitome of a fanboy right there.
Yeah.
Um, uh, but I guess maybe the other thing was just kind of the way the fast paced I made videos. I guess there was a day where I did like 6 videos and I mean, most of them were the fantasy battle videos, like back in season 1, But
Yeah.
I made just so many videos so quick, and all the unboxing videos. So like, I'd probably say like if I were to go back, I would probably pace it out a little bit more. I probably should have had a schedule kind of thing. I think that
Yeah.
probably would have been a little bit better to pace myself,
Mhm.
because I really, for lack of better words, blew my load really quick
Yeah.
at the beginning of a lot of things. So,
Yeah.
um,
Well, that's what I
yeah,
did with
but
Gojira 2000. I mean, I just ran through everything.
yeah, so that's kind of the couple things I probably would change. So,
Yeah. Well, this also kind of ties it. No, this doesn't tie into it whatsoever. But are there any videos you still haven't that you still have that weren't uploaded? Are there like any ones that have like that you made but you never uploaded them? Or are we ever going to be able to see them?
I this year I made it an effort to grab a lot of those Daily Motion videos,
Hmm.
those like because I when I upload those videos I put it in parentheses old video,
Yeah.
so I made it because I knew that the Daily Motion channel would be deleted and then those videos would be gone forever. So I decided to go, all right, well screw copyright. I'm just gonna try and make it a way where Toho won't give me a strike. So
Hmm.
that's why in those last couple old videos I had to put like an overlay with a bunch of watermarks on it to make it, to not get any
Yeah.
kind of copyright notice on it, and it worked, which is great. So now people are able to enjoy those videos. But yeah, right now there are no videos that no one has not seen, unless they're videos that I made that I didn't like and I just deleted them right off the bat. But nothing, like everything that's on my channel is pretty much everything
Yeah.
that is there. So.
Hmm. Well, yeah, I actually remember there are a lot of videos that I made during the course of transitioning into Future Freshman, into this new channel, that were uploaded on other channels, and I just have like saved, and I'm like, should I put those up just one day, just for the hell of it? But yeah,
Right.
this is just another thing right here. What do you think attributed to this community's downfall, and how did it affect you personally? Because I mean, at least I think it's almost inarguable that the community's taken a turn for the worse, almost pretty much a deep dive since
Right.
the beginning of 2016, I would say.
Well, first thing I would say is a lot of people think I quit solely just because of the way the fan base is. That's
Hmm.
not true. Um, I I made it in my Facebook post. I also reiterated that statement too, but since it's on video, I might as well reiterate it again.
Yeah.
That was actually probably the least reason. I put that reason in there because yes, it is also kind of affecting me as a fan of having to deal with so many people that are complaining and whining and all that stuff. But
Yeah.
that's not the main reason. There were the other two reasons of not, the practical reason of obviously not having a lot of content to do, and then the more personal life issues that kind of infestated my brain with that. But I guess in a psychological way, whatever.
Yeah.
So, but no, what I think attributed to this, I always look back to the start of 2014, and I think when that film came out, we gained a slew of new fans that didn't necessarily have the grounded respect for the older films, and that's why we now have this whole Toho versus Legendary people,
Yeah.
like they can't be on both sides. They have to pick a side, which I think is ridiculous.
Absolutely.
So I think it was with 2014, and then it just kind of, because of Godzilla getting so popular, and now he's kind of in the mainstream, he's obviously going to get infected with the mainstream media of people complaining about nitpicking all these little things. I mean, it happens to Marvel, it happens to Star Wars, it happens to all these kind of movies now. And then when the Godzilla PS4 game came out, that was another disaster, I think. So many people didn't
Absolutely.
understand it. I mean, I would like to think I understood it, or I'm just tooting my own horn, but I don't know. That was one of the more of a headache than before. And then obviously Shin Godzilla, which I think really almost killed everybody because, and that's why I didn't make a lot of videos
That was
about it, because I really
ridiculous.
just did not want to get in on that because, I liked Shin Godzilla. You guys know my opinion on that, but that movie really splintered a lot of people, and no one knew how to give any kind of constructive opinion about anything. If you said you liked it, that means you were a legendary hater. If you hated it, that means you were a legendary lover, that you hated Toho.
Mm-hmm.
If you liked Shin Godzilla, you were called a Toho sapien or something like that. Really stupid things. You lost either way. You couldn't win with any kind of
Exactly.
argument with that movie. So,
Yeah.
we'll see how it's like with the animated movie that's coming out this year, which I'm so happy I'm not going to have to be a part of. I can just sit down and enjoy it.
That should be interesting to see. Yeah.
So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, I think it's really just every time a new thing comes out in the franchise, the fan base just goes insane.
Yeah, and
And
it's also, I'm sorry to cut you off, but it's also
no
like
problem.
this is about pop culture. It's just a fictional character. Can't people
Right.
just like, you should be able to say I enjoy this without like people going, "Oh yeah, well you enjoy that? Well then you're stupid." It's like
Right.
that makes no sense. Why can't we just kind of sit down and just respect each
just-
other's opinions?
Can't we just go back to saying it's a guilty pleasure?
Exactly, yeah, why
I mean,
not?
that's a thing.
Yeah,
you
and when
know?
you think about it, then you kind of like take a step back and you look, you're like, we're just a bunch of, if you want to put it,
Right.
we're just a bunch of weeboos, arguing over this stupid, honestly, a stupid concept. That's it. That's all it is.
And also, I think one of the other things that I've attributed, and I think is probably the elephant in the room, is a lot of the YouTube drama that has happened
Mm-hmm.
in 2016, at least when it comes to the Godzilla YouTuber community. And I say Godzilla YouTuber community because I want to make this clear to a lot of people that when you say the Godzilla community, you have to pick a community. That's what a community means. Because otherwise, I think what a lot of people are saying when they talk about the quote unquote Godzilla community, they're thinking about the whole fan base as a whole. It's like,
Mm-hmm.
no, you got to say fan base if you're talking about everybody. But if you're talking about a community, you got to specify, okay, is this on the YouTube? Is this on Facebook? Is this on Twitter? Is this the, different
Yeah.
communities? That's what it means.
I've never actually thought
There's
about
even
that.
sub
Yeah.
communities on YouTube. You got the collector community, you got the, I don't know, unboxing, whatever.
The
but,
rant community.
right. So I think a lot of it is there's so many quote unquote Godzilla YouTubers now,
Mm-hmm.
and they're all young. So a lot of growing up needs to happen, I think,
Yeah.
before we can get to a certain point. Because when I started, it was not crowded. And I think that's also one of the reasons why I got that success was because
Yeah.
I didn't really have anybody that I had to kind of compete against. And the thing is it's not a game of whether who has the most subs or not. That's never been the thing. And some people think it is. Some people think it's a game where, well, I need to make as many subs as I can.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't have, this many subs, that means you're just not as cool as I am or anything like that.
Exactly.
I think that's the problem is that it's now like a competition, and it's okay to have a friendly competition. Like I remember talking to Rich or Samson West a long time ago being like, we were talking about subs and man, how did you get that many subs? And we're just kind of joking and all that stuff. But some people take it so seriously that, at the end of their videos, they say, please sub, comment, subscribe. I hate that. I don't like it when people at the end of their videos constantly remind their viewers to sub, because if I'm already subbed to you, why are you telling me that when I am already done it?
Yeah.
So that's why in my videos, I've never said it. I probably said it like maybe once or twice when I first started out.
Yeah, I think there's a difference between begging and then actually just like asking, if you guys enjoy this, feel free to subscribe. That's how I end the majority of my
Right.
videos, although some of them I haven't even mentioned
The
it.
thing is that your content should, say it itself. It should.
Oh,
be
absolutely.
That, if I'm confident that my content is good enough, then people will subscribe whether I ask them or not to.
Exactly.
You
yeah.
know. So, but yeah, I think it's just going back to the question without getting too distracted. I think it's a lot of new stuff is happening in the franchise. The internet. It's just the way the internet is with things, and I can't stand it the way that it's making people seem, because the thing is that the internet way of doing things is not realistic. Is not like you talk to anybody in real life, they do not act like you see on the internet.
Yeah.
It's not it's such a fictitious environment that these young are going into the internet and they're thinking this is life. They're thinking this is how people act in real life, and that's not true. And that's one of the things that bothers me about the internet and the way that the society is because it just kind of is bending these young kids into these people that aren't, they don't know how real life works, you know.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, it's
to a
also like the
political
process
debate,
of growing up and stuff, you know.
yeah, or any kind of thing like that. But yeah, I think it's just getting a little bit too crowded, and I think there's just so much happening in the franchise, and I think that's with the internet culture. I think that's why this fan base is kind of getting a little bit shit.
Yeah, and I guess this kind of veers away from it, but I kind of find that interesting. You know how you say like subscribers don't mean everything, and I think now like people are. I think people need to start recognizing that more, and I think some people do. Um, there's certain people who are very tiny, like considerably tiny channels that have a lot of influence. Like,
Yeah.
in actually this was actually mentioned on the depth here earlier, where Nerfman said to me, he goes like, if I ever made a rant on you, it would be like the equivalent of being hit by a bus because of the amount of people that would come after me, and or that would come after him. And I was like, yeah, kind of, because I have that. Even though my sub count doesn't really reflect it, I have that influence, quote quote,
Right.
or the amount
Right.
of the amount of people that know about me. So
Yeah.
and I think there's also kind of like a thing adding into, the other thing is like, if you're making views, making subscribers, great, but do you like the content that you're making? You
Yeah, I
know?
mean, you gotta do it because you like it.
Exactly,
Because
yeah.
you like doing it.
You know, and I make certain series that I don't get a lot of views, but I like doing it or I make them because I like to do it. You know, they're like the
Right.
ones I enjoy the most. But yeah, moving. Do you mind if I move into the next question?
Oh yeah, yeah.
All right. In your opinion, what can this community do to be a better place, or quote unquote be less toxic?
Ooh, yeah, I think it's just be nice to everybody. I think really just let opinions be opinions and not be entitled opinions, and stop being elitist and stop being these pathetic people on the internet that feel that they need to voice their opinion on every little nitpicking thing. I mean, you know, I guess one example that I would think of is like the SH Monster Arts Shin Godzilla figure. Like, yeah, that figure's, in my opinion, it's not the best, but someone out there might like it, and that's fine. You know, if they like it, then that's cool. I just think that's really it. Just people need to be nicer to each other. We need to go back to when we were in 2013, I think, or even before that. We're letting a lot of this, you know, new franchise movies and all this stuff like Shin Godzilla coming out, new design, all this stuff. Like just learn to enjoy entertainment, because that's one thing I've learned big time over this year that I've really tried. I train myself every day to just look at entertainment as entertainment. And yes, I have my passions, and I have that entertainment has deeper meanings. Like when I watch a movie, it has a message in it. There's always that. But at the end of the day, if entertainment just went away,
Yeah.
human civilization, we would still be alive, because it's not necessarily it's not a necessity to have.
Yeah.
You know, we need food, we need water, we need shelter, but entertainment we don't need necessarily.
Entertainment is a way for us to escape our shitty lives.
So I think people need to learn to just cool it and just chill when it comes to anything, really. You know, I've learned to enjoy a lot more video games that I didn't really think I would like back in the day, because when I was younger, like in high school, I was one of those Call of Duty haters. I would hate every Call of Duty, and I'd be like, oh, it's stupid, it's the same thing every year.
Yeah.
And still kind of agree that, yeah, it's kind of the same thing every year. But I think also because now I'm kind of delving into game development, that I kind of see it on the other side.
Yeah.
And that it does take a lot of work still to make a Call of Duty game every year. It still takes a lot of man hours to change some things and all that, even though it's the same game every year basically. But there are that take a long time, and I'm actually enjoying a lot of the Call of Duty games now. I like Infinite Warfare. A lot of people hated. I actually really liked.
Do you?
One of those things that when you learn to just stop taking entertainment too seriously, there's a point where you can take it seriously. Like I said, I'm passionate about a lot of things, you know, but when you learn to just enjoy things, life is a lot sweeter.
Yeah.
It is so much more sweeter when you learn to just be like, Nintendo Switch, I didn't like it, but hey, whatever. If I get a chance, I'll try it. Something like that. You know, it's just one of those things that don't get so upset to where you feel the need that you have to go on Facebook and insult someone for liking something that you don't like.
Yeah.
It's just, it's, to me, it's pathetic, it's juvenile, and I think it has made people, so if there's one thing that I would say to make this fan base better, is just when, like, for instance, when the animated movie comes out, can we all just learn to have the opinions, be like, hey, I don't like it, but if you like it, that's cool, let's talk about it in a civil way. Let's have a discussion about it, but in a civil way,
Yeah.
So that's basically it. Just, like, be nice to everyone. Can we just be nice?
Yeah. And that's actually kind of funny that you mention it, because one of the movies that I watched that a lot of people are like, oh, that's garbage, it's the second Jurassic Park movie, The Lost World.
Oh,
I
yeah.
love that movie to death. It's my favorite one. Although
Right.
what I do is people are like, oh, I hate that movie. I love it so much, but the thing is, even though other people don't like it, I don't go out and I attack them for not,
Right.
or people who don't like it, I don't go out and attack them for not liking it. And really all it is that certain people just have taste, You can't
Yeah, it's all
change
about
someone's taste, right? I mean,
the other thing is too, a big thing is preference.
Yeah.
You have to learn what preference means to people. Everyone says, and I actually say a good exercise that I recommend everybody to do is, for instance, everyone knows the Batman and Robin movie, right?
Yes.
Okay. From, whatever his name is, I forgot the director. But anyways, so we all know how objectively bad that movie is, right?
Yes.
But I kind of have a guilty pleasure of it. I kind of like it. Arnold Schwarzenegger playing as Mr. Freeze, I think it's hilarious, So what I strongly recommend people to do is go to Nostalgia Critic's video where he reviews the film, okay? And he just trashes it. Now here's the exercise I want you to do. I want you to watch the video, and I want you to say, I don't have to agree with him. I actually like this movie. But if he says he doesn't like it, then that's fine. I want you to do that. And you know what? To go even further, go on the YouTube video of it, make a comment, and type it out. You know how writing things helps? Just type it out. Say, you know what, Mr. Nostalgia Critic, I don't necessarily agree with what you had to say in your video, but it's okay because I understand where you're coming from, but I have a guilty pleasure for this movie. Thank you for your very entertaining video.
Yeah, and you know what? That's
Period.
actually kind of funny because it sounds like that's something that you actually did.
No, I didn't.
You didn't do that? I could have sworn you would have after how you said
just
that.
made that up on top of my head right now. But it's one of the things that you learn when you grow up. Because I feel like when I'm 60, I'm just not going to give a shit about anything.
Absolutely.
You wonder why a lot of old people just don't care. Is because they've lived and they realize that they're almost going to die, so it doesn't even matter.
Well, I think they're 60, man. They got a while. If you're saying they're 60.
Oh, okay, fine. I guess we're going to be living till we're 100 now, I guess, with technology. But still, I think that, the older you get, the more you realize that, stressing over entertainment as it is. So yeah, going back to the question before we once again delve off too much, digress, just be nice to each other. Just learn to accept opinions from others and all that stuff. Otherwise, I mean, we're just fan base gonna be shit, and that's it. So, and I am happily glad that I jumped off the ship.
Yeah,
before
absolutely.
So,
After it hit an iceberg.
right.
Yeah.
Which ironically was not an iceberg; it was Godzilla's dorsal plate. But hey,
Oh man. Anyways, these are the last couple of questions. This one we kind of already did touch on, but you talked about collecting figures to stop your depression during the video. This helped you grow your channel, but is that something you regret? Like, I got to imagine, and I just got to kind of add my little tidbit in here. That has to be so destructive. So, like, sit down in front of the camera, feeling like shit, put on this smile, and then going, hey guys, I'm out here with another unboxing video. Were there, like, times where you just went, oh, I just need to stop this, Like, what was, were you just trying to push yourself as hard as you could to feel happy, or what?
Yeah. It's like any addiction, I think, So once again, I'll kind of reiterate what I said in my video, that when I started my channel, I was engaged to someone very important to me. And then I started the channel, and it just kind of, it grew a little bit from there. And then in a funny way, she bought me actually my first X Plus figure. She, as a gift, she bought me the 84 X Plus figure. So in in a funny way, it's kind of her fault, but but she, you know, with that, that's kind of what started the downfall of that, because then it's, you know, all the money I spent into that kind of put the splinter into that relationship. And then when she left, it was this huge hole of just depression and sadness and things. And like I said this in my video. I didn't go too personal into it, but it's something that I don't really feel too bad explaining now.
Yeah.
So with the collecting, it was one of those things that, you know, when people are depressed, they eat. When people are depressed, they drink or they gamble or they, you know, they do these bad things that just continue to devolve into more depression and you know, whatever. So when it came to the figures, it was a mix of getting so many subscribers and so many people liking what I did, and then buying these new figures, that it fueled the feeling of, I think I need to do this because this is making me happy, but it was an artificial happy.
Yeah.
And, you know, deep down inside, I was not happy. You're right. I had to put on that smile. I had to be like, hey guys, there's another boxing video. Yay.
Woohoo. Yeah.
And, you know, and when I turned off the camera, it was really just all right, I'll put you on the shelf and that's it.
Mhm.
Like there was nothing else after it, you know. It's not like I was staring at my figure going, ooh, ah, you know, it's like, no, I just put it on the shelf and that's it. And most of the figures, except for the X Plus guys, because I really do like that line. Like, I legitimately, those figures I do love collecting. But everything else really is now sold. I've basically gone. All that stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a very dark time, really. No one knew it. No one saw it because of, you know, putting on that face for the camera. And it just kind of, it really got to a point where it was like, I really need to shape up. I need to change the way I'm doing this kind of thing.
Yeah.
So it's, look at my old unboxing videos and just see the way I was, because I'm like, oh my God, like that's a guy who's going down a road that I don't, that's bad for him, you know? So
Yeah.
it was really a true bad addiction. I mean, for crying out loud, I bought what was it? A fucking party kit for 2014 with plates and a I didn't make an unboxing video, but I think I probably posted a picture or something, but I bought like a party set from like Party America
That's
of
unhealthy,
2014
dude.
during the promotional time of it. And I'm like,
That's
why
bad.
did I even buy that? But it was just because it was just that blind, I feel like this is making me happy, so I feel like I need to do this, and it was really bad. So yeah,
You know you're going down a dark hole when all of a sudden you're collecting party cups and plates to fulfill
Godzilla's
that
name on
that
it.
void inside you.
Yeah, when you literally buy it, you buy it from the website, you buy everything from Party America, all they have to offer when it comes to like different sizes of cups and plates, and then you keep it, when you open it, you keep it in the packaging and put it on the shelf next to your figures. You don't actually put it in the kitchen and use it for a plate.
Yeah.
You actually put it with your figures. Like, that is how bad it got.
Have you
So-
used them yet?
No, I sold them off.
Oh, you sold them. All right. I was gonna say, if you
Yeah.
still owned them, I want you. You need to. You have to promise that you have to use them.
If I still had them, I would burn them for sure.
Yeah. You should have made that your last video. That should have been the last video.
I sold it a long time ago when I did a purge. It was late 2014 before I moved out, actually. Late 2014 when I did this huge purge of a bunch of figures. If you look at my history on my Facebook page, you'll see a post when I decided to do that, and it was like a desk full of stuff that I just didn't need anymore. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, just these ones. I guess we could all tie these in together. But you know, what's next for you, and what does your studio plan to do next? I know you guys have Shootaman 5 coming out this year.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So are you guys like, what's next for the studio, really?
So this year is really exciting for me because I'm actually about to hire, because this whole last year has been, and now the company is, not company, the studio is a year old now, and the first year was just me. I was a one-man team doing all this stuff, and the Shootaman games were kind of a practice for me to get, you know, learning with this engine that I'm using and all that good stuff. And Shootaman 5 is kind of going to end that period of training, and now the next game that I have planned after Shoot 'em Man is going to be a bigger game. It's more work and effort is going to be put into it. But this year I'm really excited because we have, well, I mean, I say we, but it's mostly me, but I have a lot of ideas, a lot of things that I want to come out this year, a lot of big projects, and I'm also excited because this year I'm also going to be hiring, I say quote unquote hiring because I can't pay them yet, obviously, but a person from my work who is actually interested in joining. So I'm actually going to have my first actual like team member, staff member, I guess, if whatever you want to say. That's going to be helping me with the future projects. And also I have a lot of collaborative people that I'm going to be collaborating with in the future projects. I guess what I can say right now is that the next game I have planned is a platformer based off of, kind of has the same spirit as Crash Bandicoot. That's all I can give right there. And then there is obviously Wrath of the Hybrid is the next film, I guess, that Atsuri Studios is going to be presenting. And that will actually be the last Godzilla-related content I do. That'll be it.
That's it.
Because then after that, I want to do original stuff, my own original things. That way I can start making money. you know? So
that's the goal. That's the end goal right there.
yeah. So Wrath of the Hybrid will be the last Godzilla thing I do. Super Godzilla Breakout just came out, so that was a big release for Atsuri Studios as well. And then I actually have 2 comic book ideas that I'm wanting to do, and I'm working with someone right now on one of them, and it does involve kaiju, but it's going to be my own idea. Thing, all that stuff. I think what I can say, I'll give you an exclusive here for your channel.
Absolutely.
It's going to be, think about, it's going to sound weird, but it makes sense when you look into it, but kaiju meets The Walking Dead.
Wow.
That's all I'll say. That's all I'm going to say. Okay.
Now I'm interested.
And then I have another comic book idea, but that one's going to be a little bit delayed for like I think next year. So yes, and Wrath of the Hybrid and the comic book idea, I'm trying to get them to be shown at G-Fest. So the Wrath of the Hybrid will be premiered at G-Fest. I hope. We're trying to get it done before then. If not, we'll just upload on the internet and then release it. Then show it off at the next like 2018 G-Fest or whatever. But the comic book, I'm also trying to get done to where I can actually go to the artist alley and sell the comic book there in a physical copy. So I think that'd be kind of cool. But that's all ifs. The projects are still going to be finished. But premiering those 2 at G-Fest, that's an if. That's a big if. Because honestly, I don't know if I will actually be going to G-Fest this year because of financial obligations and things like that. So I will still try very much, but maybe it might be a good thing also to take a year break from G-Fest just to kind of really, recalibrate and everything.
Yeah.
So let's see, what else do I have? I also have music ideas that I want to plan and start working on, and then also working on a new engine for a new game that's going to be a horror game for either the end of this year or next year.
Got to get that out before Halloween.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes. So yeah, that is. Oh, and I also plan on doing a whole redesign of the website for Atsuri Studios. So the Atsuri Studios website, I plan to go in and just doing a complete redesign to where everything was better and all that good stuff.
I'm looking at it right now.
Yeah,
it's pretty professional, honestly, for what it is.
Yeah, thank you. I tried real hard. It was really hard having no layout idea at first, but I kind of got a little bit of a something, but now I have a little bit of a better idea of how I want to organize things. But so yeah, I have, like I said at the beginning of this whole podcast, I don't have any time to relax.
Yeah.
I have a lot of stuff. And also on a personal life things, I'm going back to school. I'm moving back home with family to, really recalibrate there. It's like a retreat for me, just kind of, reestablishing what I need to do.
Yeah.
And yeah, so it is this year has been insane, and also on a note of a happy ending too. I said in the video as well, but talking about my my ex, I've actually at the beginning of this month, after 3 years of no talking and hate and this depression, actually made amends with her. We're not together still. We've made it perfectly clear that we're just not meant for each other, which is fine. But actually made amends and we're now friends. So it is like this year has been insane, changing
Yeah.
so much,
Only
and
22
it is,
days in.
yeah, 22 days in, and my life has already just, it's been insane.
Yeah.
So this year I'm looking forward to and very excited, and all that good stuff. So for all of you guys who are listening, if you are interested, then follow Atri Studios and all that good
Hmm.
stuff, and you can know what I'm
I
doing.
got a link inside the
So
description to both Goji's channel
okay,
and the Atari Studios. Is it, wait, no, not
cool.
Atari Studios.
Atari, man, I wish I owned Atari.
Yeah, that
Holy
would be
shit, I'd be
awesome.
rich.
Also have the link to his studio inside the description. Yeah, just one last one here for you. This is one of my personal ones. I had to ask you. Is there any possibility that you might make another channel to try out some other type of content, just like how I have just like gone off on my own little trail, just trying to do this?
As far as making another channel with kind of the same things, no, I don't plan on doing that because I forgot to mention this in my last video, but um, when it comes to the whole YouTube, I'm pretty much done with that.
Yeah,
It doesn't fuel my creative appetite like it used to,
yeah,
and that's why bigger projects, because I get more gratification now working on it with a team and working with bigger things to just well, no, working on bigger projects to create these things. So the whole YouTube thing doesn't necessarily give me that excitement anymore.
yeah,
So no, I won't really feel the need to be doing YouTube anymore. Except for, I mean, obviously Atsuri Studios has a YouTube page, but that is only solely there for trailers and things, because obviously everyone's watching YouTube, so why would I not use YouTube to show my trailers and big announcements that are happening for the studio.
yeah.
Like having a personality, no, it's the I think Goji Fan was kind of that last thing for me to do. Yeah, so I mean, it depends. I mean, eventually, when it comes to like making some series, I mean, obviously Atri Studios, I hope to get better and bigger with it. And we might have some kind of deal, like, I don't know, for example, with Rooster Teeth, they have their Ruby series
Yeah.
that's, on their channel. So something like that I would love to do on Atri Studios, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they're YouTubers. That's just a way for them to show their internet is by
Yeah.
YouTube, because that's the most viewed website on the planet. So, but they also have their own production company. Rooster Teeth is they're actually a big inspiration for me when it comes to Atri Studios. I want to make something that's almost like them, minus the Let's Play stuff, because
Yeah.
once again, that's kind of that YouTuber thing,
Uh-huh.
which I just don't really like anymore.
Yeah.
But when it comes to their original stuff, their Ruby, Red versus Blue, their all that stuff, the original things they're doing, that's the kind of stuff that I'm wanting to do and get into and have a whole team together and all that stuff. So, but yeah, so this year I'm hoping to be really exciting and really to be something different. So it's gonna be good.
Yeah, well, the entire fan base and myself wish you the best of luck through everything that's going to happen in the future. And is there anything, like one last thing you'd want to say to the community? If this is, I almost would like, I think this is almost like the last. Well, you're going to do other interviews. You told me.
Yeah.
But this is almost like the last, I would say, big, video that you're a part of on YouTube. So, is there any
Yeah,
like last thing you'd want to say?
Well, I will, and when it comes to like future appearances, I did mention in my Facebook post of my like the official disclaimer of everything
Mm-hmm.
that me as a Godzilla fan, I'm still here, and I'm still going to be watching YouTube. I'm still going to be looking at people when it comes to this stuff, and because I'm not leaving the fan base. Some people think I'm just completely
Just gone.
like
Yeah.
complete like killing myself from Godzilla. No, that's not true. I'll still be around on Facebook with my Goji Fan page. So if anyone, that's kind of a still place we can have discussions and conversations like that. And when it comes to like collaborations, I'm still willing to do collaborations, of course, because I'm still a fan of Godzilla.
Yeah.
So the thing that's nice about it is collaborations don't happen all the time, and that's a good thing, which means I won't get burned out. So if someone in the future decides, to either do an interview or something, I would totally be on board for it, because it'd be like, oh man, it's been a while since I've talked about Godzilla. Maybe people would want to know my opinion
Yeah.
because it's been like a couple months or so, you know. So so yeah, I don't plan on going away 100%. It's really just the YouTube channel that is the thing that's going to be retired. But me as a fan, you know, I mean, if people still want to call me GojiFan1993, that's perfectly fine. That doesn't bother me. It's not like I'm going to completely distance myself from that name.
Yeah.
So it's really just the channel itself that's going to be the one that's going. So, but yeah, expect to see me around on the internet. I'll still be, you know, I'll still be doing some things, you know, around with other people on their channels, you know, like ETN, Rob from ETN. I guarantee you I'll be on one of his live streams in the future. So
Yeah.
look out for that and all that good stuff. So,
Well, man, that would be awesome. Once again, us, the entire community, we wish the best for you. You know, and I hope everything goes well in the future. And I'll definitely be paying attention to what your studio does. So yeah.
cool.
So thank you all for watching today, and thank you, Goji, for being here, Chris. It's been a privilege. We've been talking for the past 2 years by now.
Yeah.
I came on 2 of his live streams. I'm on 3 of his videos technically. Actually,
Yep.
4.
4.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you know, if it weren't for him, I definitely wouldn't be here right now. So you guys, you know, he deserves all that credit, getting me on the scene here. But yeah. Thank you all for watching. Go check out GojiFan's channel, even though it won't have any more future videos coming out on it. There's a bunch of really awesome content on there that you guys can go check out, especially...
Yeah, you got like 1,400 videos.
Yeah. Yeah, if you're...
So you got time.
Yeah, if you're a Kaiju fan, that's the place to go, even though it's basically inactive. Once again, his studio's linked down inside the description. Link to my channel down there if you want to go check out my content. And yeah, it was, once again, privilege talking to you, man. Thank you for joining us today.
Oh yeah, it's always fun.
All right, well... If you want to close this out with your phrase.
All right, well, that's it, guys. Thank you so much for watching. And as always, stay big, G fans.
Bye-bye, everyone.